Grapes and eye health, two ideas that might seem worlds apart, and yet they belong together in a story far larger than this small, familiar fruit. Over the next several minutes, you will see a collection of simple preparations that bring grapes together with everyday ingredients, while we explore what grapes truly offer for your vision, the plant compounds tucked inside them, their long place in human kitchens, and the easiest ways to make them part of a practical daily routine. This is a video full of ideas you can put to use right away. So let us begin with the fruit itself. Consider what a single grape really is. Roughly 4 out of every 5 parts of it are simply water, which makes grapes one of the most naturally hydrating fruits you can hold in your hand. Yet inside that gentle sweetness lives a surprising cast of characters. There is vitamin C, there is vitamin K, there is potassium, there are B vitamins in modest amounts, and there is a whole family of colorful antioxidants called polyphenols. In darker grapes, the deep purple and crimson shades come from pigments known as anthocyanins, and just beneath the skin rests resveratrol, one of the better-known plant compounds studied for the way it supports the body. One tiny fruit, and already a remarkably rich list of nutrients. There is a lovely contrast at the very heart of today's story. On one side sits a small, soft, sweet fruit that fits easily in the palm of a hand. On the other sits the human eye, one of the most intricate and delicate instruments in all of nature, able to distinguish millions of shades of color and to adjust from bright noon sunlight to a candlelit room in a matter of moments. That such an ordinary food and such an extraordinary organ should be connected at all is part of what makes nutrition so quietly amazing. The link is not magic. It is simply the raw material of good food meeting the daily work of a living body. To understand why grapes matter for vision, it helps to picture the eye as a living camera. Light enters through a clear front window, passes through a natural lens, and finally lands on a delicate screen at the very back called the retina. That screen is crowded with light-sensitive cells that perform extraordinary work in every waking moment. And like any hard-working tissue that is constantly exposed to light, the retina faces a steady stream of what scientists call oxidative stress. This is precisely where antioxidants from colorful foods quietly earn their keep. The polyphenols and the vitamin C found in grapes belong to the same broad family of protective compounds that help the body manage this daily wear. The simplest way to enjoy everything a grape offers is also the oldest. A handful of fresh grapes, about 1 cup, or roughly 150 grams, makes a naturally sweet serving of around 100 calories that asks nothing of you beyond a good rinse. Cool running water is usually all that firm, healthy grapes require. A gentle swish for a few seconds lifts away dust and loosens anything on the surface. It is wiser to wash grapes only just before eating rather than in advance, because leftover moisture can shorten how long they stay fresh. Stored unwashed in a breathable container in the refrigerator, a bunch of grapes will often keep its snap and its sweetness for around 5 to 7 days. Grapes also love good company, and few pairings feel as natural for the eyes as grapes with carrot. Carrots are famous for a reason. They are rich in beta-carotene, a golden orange pigment that the body can convert into vitamin A. And vitamin A sits at the very heart of vision because it helps form the light-sensitive pigment that lets the eye adjust when you step from bright daylight into a dim room. A blend of sweet grapes and fresh carrot, brightened with a small squeeze of lemon, brings together the gentle antioxidants of the fruit with the vitamin A potential of the root. It is a simple, affordable pairing that tastes as cheerful as it looks, and the lemon adds a lift of vitamin C that makes the whole thing sparkle. Here is a small detail that surprises many people. When you look closely at a fresh bunch, you may notice a soft, silvery, dusty coating on the skin. That gentle haze is not dirt at all. It is called the bloom, a natural waxy layer the grape produces to protect itself, and it is actually one of the clearest signs that the fruit is fresh and has been handled with care. A light rinse is all it needs before eating. When choosing grapes at the market, look for plump, firm fruit that feels well attached to green, flexible stems rather than dry, brittle ones, because the stem often tells the truth about freshness even before you taste a single grape. Another bright companion for grapes is the humble bell pepper, especially the red and yellow kinds. Sweet peppers are quietly among the most vitamin C-rich vegetables in the entire produce aisle, and vitamin C matters for the eyes in more ways than one. It supports the tiny blood vessels that nourish the retina, and it helps the body maintain the healthy connective tissue found throughout the eye. In fact, the clear fluid inside the front of the eye holds vitamin C in a concentration many times higher than the blood, a quiet clue to how much the eye values it. A crisp, chopped mixture of grapes and colorful pepper makes a refreshing, hydrating bite from two bright, ordinary ingredients. Now we come to something that deserves special attention, because it lies at the very center of grapes and eye health. Grapes contain small amounts of two remarkable carotenoids named lutein and zeaxanthin. These two pigments are extraordinary for one simple reason. The human body gathers them from food and concentrates them in the very center of the retina, forming what is known as the macular pigment. Picture the eye building its own internal filter, a soft, protective layer that helps absorb intense blue light and adds antioxidant defense right at the spot where the sharpest, most detailed vision happens. Grapes are certainly not the single richest source of these pigments, and honesty matters here. Yet every colorful food that supplies even a little adds to a lifelong pattern of eating that supports healthy eyes. There is more than one way to enjoy grapes, and each form carries its own advantages. Fresh grape juice is one of the most beloved. To make a simple version at home, a cup of grapes can be blended until smooth and then poured through a fine strainer whenever a lighter texture is preferred. The result is a concentrated, jewel-colored drink. Here is a useful detail worth holding on to. Whole grapes keep all of their fiber, which slows the release of their natural sugars and adds a comfortable feeling of fullness, while fresh grape juice offers a more concentrated and convenient rush of certain nutrients and natural sugars all at once. For that reason, a gentle habit is to enjoy grape juice in a modest portion, perhaps around 120 milliliters, and to soften it with an equal splash of water. Diluting the juice lightens the flavor and sits more easily with digestion, and sipping a little plain water alongside is simply a matter of comfort. You may wonder whether the color of a grape changes what it offers, and it is a lovely question. Green grapes are crisp, bright, and refreshing, generous with water and vitamin C. Red and deep purple grapes carry all of that, and then add a richer supply of those anthocyanin pigments and resveratrol concentrated in their darker skins. Black grapes tend to hold the deepest color of all. None is simply better than the others. Each brings its own gifts, which is exactly why enjoying a mix of colors across the week is such a pleasant and sensible habit. The rainbow on your plate is quietly doing good work. And now we arrive at one of the most valuable partnerships of all for vision. Remember those two pigments the retina gathers so carefully, lutein and zeaxanthin? Leafy greens, such as spinach, are among the very richest food sources of them found anywhere. When tender spinach leaves are blended with sweet grapes, the fruit's natural sweetness gently rounds out the flavor of the greens, creating a vivid, deep-colored drink that many people find surprisingly easy to love. It is a beautiful example of how one ingredient can open the door to another. Grapes make room on the palate for the leafy greens that so powerfully feed the macular pigment at the center of clear, detailed sight. If a green drink has ever felt intimidating, A generous handful of grapes may be the friendliest possible introduction. Here is a small kitchen secret that makes those colorful pigments work even harder. Lutein, zeaxanthin, and beta-carotene are all fat-soluble, which means the body absorbs them far more readily when a little healthy fat shares the same meal. This is where a simple salad truly shines. Picture a bowl of tender greens and halved grapes, dressed with just 1 teaspoon of flaxseed oil and a few drops of lemon. That small spoonful of flaxseed oil, stirred into the cool, finished salad rather than heated, helps carry those eye-supporting nutrients into the body, a tiny addition with a genuinely useful purpose. The grapes bring sweetness and hydration. The greens bring the pigments, and the flaxseed oil quietly ties them together into something the body can truly use. It is worth lingering on that central spot for a moment, because it does so much for us. The macula is the small, remarkable region of the retina responsible for reading a face, threading a needle, or recognizing a friend across a room. The lutein and zeaxanthin that collect there act a little like a natural pair of internal sunglasses, softening the harshest, highest energy light before it can tire those precious central cells. The body cannot manufacture these two pigments on its own. It must gather them from the foods we eat. That single fact is the reason colorful eating is not a luxury for the eyes, but a genuine, ongoing need. To truly appreciate grapes, it helps to travel far back in time. Grapes are among the oldest cultivated fruits known to humanity. Long before written recipes existed, people in the region around the South Caucasus and the ancient Near East were already tending wild vines and pressing their fruit, and the evidence of grape cultivation there stretches back many thousands of years. From those early hillsides, grapes traveled outward along trade routes into the kitchens of ancient Egypt, where lush clusters were painted onto tomb walls, and onward through Greece and Rome, where the fruit became woven into everyday meals and grand celebration alike. A humble vine, patient and generous, slowly grew into one of the most widely cultivated fruits on earth, with thousands of varieties in colors ranging from pale green to warm amber to deep midnight purple. Somewhere along that long journey, people discovered another quiet kind of magic. Left in the warm sun, grapes slowly dry into raisins, concentrating their sweetness and becoming easy to store for many months. This was one of humanity's earliest ways to carry the nourishment of summer fruit into the leaner, colder seasons. Raisins remain a wonderful, portable food today, though because drying concentrates their natural sugars, a small handful goes a long way, and they pair beautifully with a few nuts for a balanced and satisfying snack that keeps well in a bag or a bowl. Those darker grape skins hold another quiet gift. Resveratrol, the compound gathered just beneath the surface of red and purple grapes, is one of the plant world's more intriguing characters, often studied for the way it supports healthy circulation. And circulation, though we rarely think of it this way, matters for the eyes, because the retina depends on a network of exceptionally fine blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients to those hardworking light-sensing cells. Foods that support a healthy, well-flowing circulatory system are, in their own indirect way, supporting the delicate machinery of sight. Let us return to the eye itself, because the more you understand it, the more remarkable each of these foods becomes. At the back of the retina sit two kinds of light-sensing cells often described as rods and cones. The rods help you see in dim light and at the edges of your vision, while the cones handle color and fine detail in bright light. Vitamin A, the one the body can build from the beta-carotene in carrots and pumpkin, is essential for the pigment inside those rods that makes low-light vision possible. Meanwhile, the lutein and zeaxanthin from leafy greens gather in the macula to shield the cones responsible for your sharpest sight. And the vitamin C and polyphenols from fruits like grapes lend antioxidant support throughout. It is a quiet, beautifully coordinated team, And every colorful food you eat sends another small contribution to the effort. Because grapes are so full of water, they belong to a family of foods that help keep the whole body softly hydrated. And hydration matters for the eyes as well. When the body runs a little low on water, the eyes are often among the first to signal it, feeling dry, gritty, or tired by the end of a long day. The surface of the eye relies on a steady film of moisture to stay smooth, clear, and comfortable eyes truly begin with a well-hydrated body. A steady supply of water-rich foods throughout the day, grapes very much included, is one gentle way to support that moisture. Pairing grapes with crisp celery, another vegetable that is mostly water, makes an especially refreshing and cooling combination, light, crunchy, and wonderfully thirst-quenching on a warm afternoon. It is the kind of simple snack that leaves you feeling clean and refreshed rather than weighed down. For a treat that feels almost like dessert, yet asks nothing more of you than a freezer, try frozen grapes. Simply rinse a bunch, pat the grapes dry, spread them across a tray, and let them freeze for a couple of hours. What emerges is a cool, firm, naturally sweet snack that many people happily reach for in place of ice cream, and it is a delightful way to enjoy the fruit slowly on a hot day. Frozen grapes can even be dropped into a glass of water in place of ice, gently chilling and lightly sweetening it as they slowly soften. Grapes also make a cheerful addition to a simple breakfast. A small handful of halved grapes stirred into plain yogurt or scattered over a warm bowl of oats adds natural sweetness, a pleasant burst of juice, and a little color to the very start of the day. The yogurt, or the oats, brings substance and slows the release of the fruit's sugars, while the grapes bring freshness. It is an easy, affordable way to begin the morning with something both satisfying and quietly good for you. There is something worth pausing on here. A gentle point about balance. Grapes are naturally sweet, which is part of their charm. And that sweetness comes from real natural sugars wrapped together with water, fiber, and all those beneficial compounds. Enjoyed as a sensible serving, that single generous cup, grapes fit comfortably into a balanced day. Pairing them with a source of protein or healthy fat, such as a few nuts or a spoonful of yogurt, slows their sweetness even further and makes for a steadier, more satisfying snack. This is simply how thoughtful eating works. Not one miracle food, but wise, colorful combinations enjoyed in comfortable amounts. Grapes also pair thoughtfully with the warm, golden flesh of pumpkin. That rich orange color is a signal of generous beta-carotene, the very same vitamin A precursor that makes carrots so treasured for the eyes. Because pumpkin is usually enjoyed cooked and then cooled, sweet grapes can be folded into a smooth, gently spiced pumpkin puree once it has cooled to a comfortable temperature, adding little bursts of freshness and sweetness against the deeper, earthier flavor beneath. It is a comforting, colorful way to bring two very different eye-friendly foods onto the same spoon, and a reminder that supporting your vision can taste like something you genuinely look forward to. Many people today spend long hours looking at bright screens, and it is natural to wonder whether food can help tired eyes. No single fruit is a cure for the strain of a long day, and it would be unfair to suggest otherwise. Yet the picture is genuinely hopeful. A body that is well hydrated, well supplied with antioxidants, and regularly fed the pigments that gather in the macula is a body better equipped to care for its own eyes over time. Grapes, with their water and their gentle antioxidant compounds, fit comfortably into that supportive everyday pattern. Small, consistent choices, repeated kindly across the years, are what truly add up. Across many cultures and many centuries, grapes have carried a meaning far beyond the plate. They have long been symbols of abundance, hospitality, and the generosity of the harvest, appearing in art, in stories, and at gatherings meant to celebrate life. In numerous traditions, Fresh fruit like grapes was simply associated with vitality and good living, a food offered to guests and shared in seasons of joy. These beliefs belong to the human story rather than to the laboratory, yet there is something fitting in them, because modern nutrition now helps explain why such a bright, water-rich, antioxidant-carrying fruit earned its cheerful reputation in the first place. For those who enjoy a little warmth and gentle spice, a small amount of freshly grated ginger brings a lovely lift to grapes, and a bare touch of honey can round out the flavor for anyone who likes things a shade sweeter. Though grapes are so naturally sweet on their own that they rarely need much help at all, it is a small, warming way to enjoy the fruit when the weather turns cool and the evenings grow long. A brief word on cleanliness, offered calmly. For everyday grapes, a rinse under cool running water is the trusted foundation, gently rubbing the fruit with your fingers as the water runs over it. There is no need for worry or elaborate routines. Clean, fresh produce is simply a pleasant daily habit rather than a cause for concern. Whether you choose organic or conventional grapes, a good rinse serves you well. And for the youngest members of the family, having grapes lengthwise makes them easy and comfortable for little ones to enjoy, so everyone at the table can share in the same simple pleasure. It helps to remember that the eyes are with us for a very long time, and the way we feed them is a slow, patient investment rather than a quick fix. The nutrients in a single bunch of grapes will not transform anyone's sight overnight, and no honest voice would claim they could. What they do is add one more colorful, worthwhile contribution to the countless small food choices that, gathered across months and years, help the body maintain the tissues of the eye. That long, gentle view is where foods like grapes quietly do their finest work. To make the habit effortless, it helps to keep grapes within easy reach. A small bowl of rinsed grapes, ready to enjoy over the following day or two, turns a healthy choice into the most convenient one in the kitchen. Keeping the larger bunch unwashed and cool in the refrigerator, and rinsing only what you plan to enjoy soon, gives you the best of both freshness and convenience. As the season of autumn fruit arrives, grapes find a natural friend in the persimmon, a soft, honey-sweet fruit rich in its own carotenoids and vitamin C. Together, they make a glowing orange and purple bowl that celebrates exactly the kind of colorful variety the eyes appreciate most. It is a fitting picture to keep in mind, because variety, more than any single ingredient, is the true heart of eye-supporting nutrition. So how might grapes best fit into your days? A comfortable approach for most people is a single serving of fresh grapes, about 1 cup, enjoyed as a snack or alongside a meal, most often in the morning or the early afternoon, when their natural energy is easiest to put to use. Whole grapes, eaten with their skins, give you the most fiber, along with the greatest share of those color-rich compounds concentrated just beneath the surface. So there is real, lasting value in enjoying them whole. When fresh grape juice appeals, keep the portion modest and soften it with a little water. And above all, let grapes be one bright thread woven through a colorful, varied diet, because it is the whole pattern, the greens and the carrots and the peppers and the golden squashes and the fruit all together, that genuinely supports healthy vision over the years. A teaspoon of flaxseed oil stirred into a grape and greens salad helps the body absorb the fat-soluble pigments those foods provide, and a well-hydrated body helps keep the eyes themselves clear and comfortable. In the end, the story of grapes for eye health is a quiet reminder of something wonderful, that real nourishment need not be complicated or costly. A simple bunch of grapes, cool and glistening, sweet on the tongue and deep in color, carries within it fresh water, gentle antioxidants, a whisper of the very pigments the eyes hold so dear, and thousands of years of human history folded into every cluster. Whether enjoyed whole by the handful, blended into a bright morning drink, or scattered among fresh green leaves, this humble and familiar fruit offers freshness, nourishment, and a small daily pleasure that supports not only the eyes but the whole body. And perhaps that is the most beautiful part of all, that something so ordinary, so easy to find, and so lovely to eat can be so quietly and generously good for you.